welcome to this Sunday broadcast. Coming to you live and in color. Just doing the greenery thing today. We're gonna come to you live. See what we got. Bring it on to you live. I'll be on for a little while today. Turn this on. See where everybody's at. It's a pretty straightforward situation. I gotta put this thing. I guess I. See what we got so far. It is Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, or Monday morning. Depends on where you are in the world. So thank you if you happen to be on. Appreciate everything. Just coming on for a minute. We're gonna see if anybody comes through. I'm just trying to send out the message that this is live. Uh, so we're gonna see who comes through. Patience is a mere virtue, so we shall see. We shall see. Got some stuff to do, so we shall see. Hope everybody having a good day. Yeah, Shador Sanders, of course, I think he paid a price. I think they wanted his daddy to be a coach in the NFL. I think that's what it was. I don't think Shador should have had to wait it no 15 days just to get drafted. Are you kidding me? It's embarrassing. But I tell you all the time, this is exactly why I wish they had their own league because they can make an example out of you. I definitely think there is a racial aspect to it. I no doubt. You can't tell me he wasn't a legit quarterback in college to have to wait no 2 and 3 days. This is on some ritual though. This definitely seems like there's something that's at work. It doesn't even seem like it's right. He, he, usually with connections you get hooked up, but this seems a bit much. It don't even seem right. So I'm kind of like looking at it like I've seen some stuff, but this is a bit This is crazy. I will probably have this live stream up probably in about a couple weeks because when I do my streams, I put them all together. Let's see what we got. 50-50. Okay. Well, if you're following the Shador Sanders situation, it'll be interesting to see what you say. Well, he's in Cleveland, so you think that's right where he needs to be? I mean, I'm glad he got drafted, but that's basically Tubi. That's Tubi of the NFL. You do know that, right? 'Cause Cleveland is usually a dead end, unless, of course, there's something that awaits him in about. Oh, thank you for stopping by too, Dakota. Oh, if something awaits him in about a couple of years, okay. We know how it's going to end in Cleveland. That's not going to end well. I don't see the Browns turn into the Cavaliers or the Guardians for that matter. Well, the Guardians did get to the second round last year in baseball. So but the Browns, forget about it. You got a lot of hope for him. Listen, they ain't gone through so many quarterbacks. I lost count. You know, I mean, it's got to be something. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't even know what. It's hype. It's hype. They were good in the '80s though. All right, what's up? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. But it's a lot of work though. A lot of work. Oh, from the ATL. Okay. Thanks for coming from the ATL. I used to live in Virginia. And I have some family members in Marietta, so I'm very familiar with ATL in Georgia. Very familiar with the ATL. What's happening today? What's going on? Thank you for coming through. Well, if this is the thing, anybody could have drafted him though. So I just think that I think they were in cahoots. I understand what you're saying, but I watched him play. He better than a lot of people. To have to wait 3 days, that's not funny. That's not funny. And I just look at it as a pounce. I'm looking at it like y'all should know to not treat him like that. That's just kind of a diss track to me. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. You know, his daddy started off in ATL, and then of course he left and he went to greener pastures. But he was respected from again. The talent was there. So we'll see. like I said, we'll see. We shall see. All right, anybody else coming through? Feel free to comment. Please hit that like up, and we can talk about it. I'm not ruling what you're saying out. All I'm saying is he was in a school where he already proved himself. Colorado wasn't doing jack, okay? He went there to a school that hadn't done jack in years. That's the point. This here is some kind of situation that this is payback because Dion wouldn't come to the NFL. That's all I'm getting at. I understand what you're saying, but he already did the underdog thing. Cleveland is not underdog. That's under the dog. There's a difference. Underdog means that, you know, you shock somebody. Cleveland is under the dog. No one is Cleveland ain't gonna do nothing. Because if Cleveland was to do something with him, that would be the worst this ever. That's how big this could be. So if he does something like that, well, then we'll see. We'll see. To your point, man. Well, I'm gonna go one step further. If they had a black based business, that might be a different story. See, this is personal. This is personal. And they made it. I've, I've done videos about it. I did videos about Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield, even Tebow. And you can't tell me that Eli Manning rolled his eyes when he got drafted in the first round by the Chargers and got traded to the Giants on national TV. He rolled his eyes. He sucked until he got himself together in the postseason and the Giants won Super Bowls. But if you go by his career, that's why he's a borderline Hall of Famer as we speak now. When you talk about Eli sulking Manning when the Chargers drafted him, I remember how he sulked. So, and to people, he's still a borderline Hall of Famer. Even with those two rings against the Wings, it's more about who he beat, not because he has some great stats. But he wasn't no great shakes his career, you know. So it's always a double standard. It's always, you know, that's all I'm getting at. That's it. That's it. And right now, he's not even considered a ballot because they had him on the ballot. It didn't fly. They don't look at his two rings like they look at Ben Roethlisberger's two rings. I'm just keeping it 100. It's very polarizing. Well, beating Brady does carry weight, and being Belichick too. So No, Jim Plunkett's not in. Plunkett's not in. So he gets in because it's with the New York Giants too. It's more romanticism too. There's so much politics. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah. Plunkett's not getting in though. Probably no time soon. They may make Eli wait a while. We'll see. Okay. 67% saying pay the price by being Dion's son. Well, that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Well, see, you said two things which he has to go pro. You don't have to be anything special, but you already said the magical word. And he's also NIL, which is one of the reasons why they want to send a message to him too. Because you're gonna get paid. But does he get any better staying in college? I don't know. Depends on who you play for, depends on what your situation is like. I don't know. So cats ain't gonna wait no more. The money too good. Well, we're gonna see. I'm looking forward to it. He already was his own man. I remember what the success he had in college. So this is just confirmation. It's a merry. He will look at him sideways though. Believe that if he gets a chance to shine, that's true. Because Bronny only gets to play in garbage or garbage times, and he barely can score a point then. But see, LeBron is a company man though. That's all this reads as. Company man gotta do what company man gotta do. Yeah, well, Dion had to prove it too back then. That was a different era. Dion came in an era where, you know, Dale did a really good job fine tuning them. Bobby Bonds did a great job with Barry. I can go on. Ken Griffey Sr. did a great job with Ken Griffey Jr. You know, Dale Curry's done a good job. I mean, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The problem is that the flopping, the 3 point shooting, they didn't sold them as so conditioned athletes to what they're doing. They're not going to change it. And you're really hoping that Steph Curry retires. That's what you're really hoping. But because he's been more influential than LeBron. LeBron's problem is that he put all these teams together and these people got removed. And that's a big problem. But there's an era when it's done, it's done. So please continue to hit that like up and feel free to take that poll question. Put this down for just a second. got guys 20, 30 pounds overweight as the stars of the game, and they're not physical spin like Shaq. You talking about you talking about Luca? Well, different era, different era. They ain't got nothing at stake before LeBron retired. If they smart, they try to hang on to Luca. This this ain't gonna work if LeBron stays and Luca. If he don't go in the next year or two, they run the risk of losing Luca. So I'm telling you, they run the risk of losing Luca. So if they smart, they get him up out of there because they run the risk of losing Luca. That's how I look at it. Because if you keep him and you run Luca wild and drain him out, yeah. But his problem is he's not dominant to his team. Thank, thank you for mentioning him. Thank you for mentioning him because I got something to say about that. Thank you, Dakota. Let me give me a one if you can hear me because I want to address Jokic. Give me a one. Give me a one. Give me a one. Okay, I'm gonna address him real quick for those listening. The Denver Nuggets should be a dominant team. They came back last night and that dunk by Aaron Gordon was sweet. But they got a front court that we should be talking about that's rivaling the Boston Celtics with Bird, Parrish, and McHale. Because if Aaron Gordon is a double double every night, Michael Porter Jr. is a double double, and you got Jamal Murray out there, ain't that four legit players? And then Christian Braun, isn't that be five? And then if Russell Westbrook does what he do, you got five and a half guys who on an off night should be able to put 15 points up each. How come they're not making what OKC is doing? So he's underachieving. Jokic is. All in triple doubles. And you got skilled players. You don't have no bums. So why are you underachieving? So I have a problem with what goes on with that. So I think that, if he doesn't win a couple more rings, a ring or two more, he'll never belong on the class with Shaq, Wilt, Russell, and Kareem. And he'll never pass Moses and Hakeem. I don't care how many regular season MVPs they give him. Because he's statting, but it's not happening. So that's why I got a problem with him. Yeah, because he's frustrating because if they could finish chippy games, they would have been second seed. And I watched the Nuggets play. A lot of that stuff is just chippy losses. They got 50 wins playing chippy. Imagine if they put in the work, they'd be pushing 60 wins. He should be in his dominant peak and prime right now. There shouldn't be no questions asked. Yeah, him and Shea could be battling for MVP and everything else, but there shouldn't be no. They shouldn't be struggling to be no fourth, fifth, sixth team. That's too much talent they got on that team to be so, you know, sloppy. the Clippers ain't no joke. Cause I'm gonna tell you something. You forgot about how good that guy named Kawhi Leonard is. James Harden's still good. Zubac is good. Norman Powell. Kawhi, if it's healthy, that's not nothing to cry. That's a series. Don't take them. And Tyronn Lue can coach. Don't take that light. Tyronn Lue ain't no scrub. He can coach. He ain't Doc Rivers. He gets it close. It took something like that to win. That's a real battle because he knows how to coach. Jamal Murray is inconsistent as all get out. I'm not gonna argue that. He has nights when you want to debate him as one of the 15 best players in the world, maybe 12, and then he has other nights when you can't seem to find to put 2 hours in his name because he's Mo A, not Moray. He's Mo A. He can play basketball. It's just that his mindset has to be consistent. He spends a lot of time trying to get hot in the fourth quarter. He spends a lot of time. Yeah. If you're a Laker fan, ask Laker fans. Ask Laker fans. Ask Laker fans. Because he tear their behind up in the postseason. You ain't watched him play. And then in the bubble, he went off. He's had some postseason games. He's kind of like the West Coast version of Donovan Mitchell. You sleep on him, he'll light your butter for 30. They might do it. He's streaky. That's Jamal's problem. He's streaky and he get hurt a lot. Now, Doc's got a coach out he's behind. He ain't no role player. He's the second or third best player they got on that team. He ain't no role player. Cause without Jamal Murray, they don't go too far. You ain't been watching the postseason last couple of years. He was huge, especially against the Lakers. I remember that game too last year. AD had that 40 and 12. Murray hit that fadeaway in the corner and they won the game at the end. Milwaukee shouldn't even be able to beat Indiana. If they beat the Pacers, that's a travesty. And I heard a Jamal Murray called a role play. That's kind of funny. Top three best players right now that I've seen right now. Eyeball test. Ooh, I've been impressed with. Well, I'll say this: OKC's been the best team. I can't say anybody on the team has really knocked me out. Because Shea's been pretty good, not great, but they've been playing the best. Probably if I was picking three guys that stood out for me right now, Kawhi Leonard. I want to say Cade Cunningham. and I want to say Steph. Of course, honorable mention goes to Giannis because if it wasn't for him, Milwaukee's butt would be fishing right now. So, but Steph's look good though. Because for all the people who think he can't win it without, I don't think the team can win it, but I think that he can win it. Oh, easily, easily, easily. easily. Because remember, there was hand checking and no 3 point line, and there was all this zone defense. You let that man expose you, and he had a nasty left hand, right hand jump shot, strength. Probably be looking at like 34 points a game, 10, 12 boards, 10, 12 assists, and a couple steals to go along with it. And he played for Milwaukee. Could you imagine Big O and Giannis? Dame Lillard would have to ride the pine. He would be looking like Kyle Kuzma if Big O was on that team right now. He would basically be hanging out. He'd be about Kuzma level. He would be. Especially if we put him in that situation. Yeah, Kyle Kuzma. Because that's what Dame Lillard would basically be compared to Big O. That I stutter. Dame Lillard shoots all that Dame time and all them antics. That's what Kyle Kuzma does. You put Oscar Robinson with Giannis, and let me see if they don't come out the East. Let me see if Boston don't get tough by default. Who says he's top 75? I'm not big on Dame Lillard, so you're not gonna get me. I think he overrated. What about the clouts that's been in his arms when he was in Portland? Stat pat and getting knocked out the second round every year. What about his the situation last year? He wanted to go to Miami. He is not cut out for this kind of situation. Shoot, you're not gonna hear me say anything. Listen, I feel for him on a personal level, but his game is not for all the hype he gets. It just ain't there. He talked too much yang for a cat that ain't never gonna win Jack. No, CJ McCollum been an actor. CJ McCollum been gone to broadcasting. He borderline. I'm not that big on him. I mean, big shots, I'll give you. Big shots, big plays. But, he was on that thing with all that smoke with Steven Jackson and Matt Bonner talking about he's still mad about the Bulls series. Well, he should be because he didn't get no rebounds. He had a chance to beat Chicago in game seven and he didn't get no boards. They were up, didn't finish it up. I think he was a great shooter. Does that mean he was a great player? I think the line's been kind of blurred there. I think it's a little bit blurry. He can shoot that thing, but I don't know about, when you start talking about top 75 players, you're going to sit here and tell me that a guy was that great. Oh, yeah, of course, I'll take him over Dame. That ain't saying nothing. That's not saying nothing. I'll take Kyrie Irving over Dame. Now, that's a hot take. That's a hot take. That's considered a hot take. So, Paul Gasol, because he was good in Memphis and he was great in LA and he was pretty good with the Spurs. He had a more versatile style to his game and he could play defense. Remember Amari Stoudemire? Think about it. He came up big. I'll take him over Dame. I'm not big on Dame. I'll tell you like this: if Brandon Roy had to stay healthy, I'd have taken him over him, but he didn't get. He got hurt. Dame scores a lot of points. I give you that. But to me, once we get past the stat pad, I just don't see nothing special about him. Oh, Bernard King, come on now. I grew up on B King, and let me tell you, Larry Bird was crazy about B King. They were scared of B King. Dominic will tell you about B King. Mullen, better shooter, and if he played in this day and time, he would be even scarier because that cat could go through left and right and hit you. Dame ain't gonna see most of those guys back then. No, you doing too. How am I doing too much? I saw those guys play. Don't ask me a question if you don't like the answer. You ask me my honest opinion. I'm not sugarcoating. Paul Gasol was a better leader than Dame, and he fit in multiple teams. His style. You just looking at stats. Paul Gasol fit in better. Bernard King before he got hurt. You ain't see Bernard King. Because whatever you think about Dominique Wilkins or somebody like that, or Tracy McGrady, there was Bernard King. That was a bad dude. Chris Mullins could bust your behind, had a nasty dribble, stop, shake, tear your butt up. I ain't gonna say he gonna be completely forgotten, but I'll say this: he doesn't do himself any services because he just seems like he doesn't seem like a guy that really wants it, and he just seems like he's stat padding, which that's what they allow. But he'll probably kind of fade like a Carmelo Anthony type, where you'll be hard pressed to remember when he was so called great or good, because you'll just kind of forget about him in the sense that you know. But I'm not gonna say completely forgotten, but he definitely, you know, to be completely forgotten, you got almost like I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody. Well, I'll say this: it won't be a situation where people will be, because he didn't finish what it seemed like maybe potentially. Obviously, they put you on the test 75 team, they ain't gonna forget you. But what'll happen is he'll have an asterisk by him though. Sure. I mean, we're gonna um, if you were a fan of his, you remember him. I remember him when he got game, the movie. I remember him when he was UConn, and I remember him with the Sonics, and I remember with the Bucks. But Boston and Miami is where I remember him best because he went off for Boston. He had a finals game where he went off, and of course Miami. But he's also the problem with Ray Allen is that he's more known for that three ball, and people forget that he was a great athlete. He could dunk. He has that shot. Yeah, I hate to say it. There's truth to what you're saying because once I say all I said, 75-80% of him is pretty much attached to Miami and that shot. Barely Boston after that. and he being a 3 point shooter. That's pretty much what people remember. They don't forget that he was a more athletic version of Reggie Miller. That gets lost. Thanks for the update. Um, if Cat's playing like he's supposed to, they'll beat Detroit. I think the problem is Detroit just doesn't have a second option. That's the reality. That's the cold hard facts. I like Cade Cunningham a lot, but they young, they green like they scream, and they're gonna need some time. They're probably about a couple years away from being a threat. They'll have to go get somebody that can score with consistency. Dennis Schroeder, and we know about Tobias Harris. They don't have a Tim Hardaway Jr. They don't have a second option. If they had a legit second option, that could be a more dangerous series. Because the truth is that series could easily be Detroit up 3-1, but they're gonna probably lose it because they're inexperienced and they don't have the fire plugs, don't have the horses to ride back. So, but yeah, that's true about Ray. So good. Anyway, yeah, that's an interesting part that you mentioned about Ray though, and I like Ray too. I like Ray, but it's pretty much, if you don't talk about the three ball, what piece, player type, or actual players in there missing to make it through things? Great question. They're missing a 12-year ago Paul George, a 13-year ago Danny Granger, a Reggie Miller. They don't have no instant score. I like PJ Sock'em a lot, and Halliburton is good, but they got guys who kind of do the same, but they don't have that guy that can score at will, and that's what's missing. And it shows because they look like a team that is good enough. They could sneak around. They might get to the Eastern Conference Final, but somebody gets hurt or something happens. But I don't feel blown away by them. When Giannis goes through them, and it's amazing. I was like, man, if they had anybody who could score easy buckets with Halliburton and with Sock'em and what they got, they would be a handful to play against. But they're not. They just don't have that kind of team. Yep, they don't have it. That's an it player. They don't have it. They got guys who can play good to near it. They don't have it. There's no it there. So therefore, they're not in discussion. And if Giannis is bumping them, being a one-man crew, that tells me how lame they are on defense. But they are getting beat. You know. So so that's what they're missing. If you think I'm lying, you can tell me. But you asked me, that's how I look at the Pacers. And it's glaring. It's very glaring. But that's why I can't take them seriously like that. Because and someone will come at me about, well, Cleveland's got, like, no. Donovan Mitchell can give you 30 every night. He can go off. They got two, three guys who he can go off. Their key is Jared Allen. If Jared Allen is beasting in the middle, they're gonna be tough to beat. They're gonna be tough to beat. Please continue to hit that like, hit that poll question, and going to see because it's kind of gotten quiet again. We just got through talking about the Pacers. Pacers always been one of that team that they had this or that, but and I like PJ Suckham a lot, but Suckham is not the kind of dude that can lead a team. He was very good with Toronto, but you had to have Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry. Because he'd be dangerous if he went to a team that has an alpha. That's another thing that I always like to say. Some teams just missing an alpha. Okay, no problem. Get your money while you can, while you out and about. Appreciate you taking the time to be here. That's some grocery money, so enjoy. Okay. I think I'll be on for about another 5 more minutes. I'll make it an even hour tonight. Let's see what we're working with. See anybody still on here? Again, it's getting quiet again, so I'll probably be off. I'll get about 5 more minutes. I will probably be on a lot earlier tomorrow. That's the plan. Cause I was out later today. I'm back. Congratulations. I'm back. I don't know. Well, you are. It depends on where you get them from. Because if you go to one of them, the convenience stores, which ain't convenient, it's a big deal. Scratch tickets and all that. Well, yeah, because you put them on the news. Please continue to hit the like, hit the poll question. See if anybody will say anything. Get a couple more minutes. Just waiting to see if anybody come through. For a couple minutes, so give it about an hour. Mm, I think that it's gonna take some work. So I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm all right with Reggie. I don't know how. I thought he showed more of the real side of him when he ain't working for TNT. I'll say that. Anyway, so I'll be back tomorrow. Did like an hour tonight, so I think I will cut it down just a second. Appreciate everybody that came through, and thanks for the clicks and the views. It is. I have plenty of moments there. Okay, Costco. All right, I'm gonna get ready to call it a night. Appreciate when it came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, and I will be back tomorrow. Thanks again. See ya. Peace.